from the past.
Please listen carefully.
CoCo.
Welcome to the CoCo Crew Podcast. A delicious adventure into the world of retro computing news and information. Featuring the Tandy Color Computer.
Hey, you got your CoCo 3 yet?
CoCo.
Alright, welcome CoCo Cruisers. This is episode 95 of the CoCo Crew Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John Linville. I'm here with your other hosts. Let's see, we've got Neil Blanchard. Hello, Neil.
Hello, John.
We've got Mike Rowan. Hello, Mike.
Hello, CoCo Cruisers.
And, of course, we have Mr. Boise Pete. Hello, Boise.
I love Tandy.
I love Tandy. Three of us, at least, are fresh off of CoCoFEST 2023. And so that puts the next CoCoFEST roughly a year away, maybe a little less or a little more than 12 months, because I think they said they're going to move it back towards the May time frame next year. Let's see, but that still leaves the Tandy Assembly 2023 coming up in around 5 months or so. That should be a good event, exciting stuff. Would love to see more CoCo participation there as much as possible. So if you're a CoCo person and maybe your project didn't quite make it for CoCoFEST, we'd love to see it at Tandy Assembly. We'd even love for you to come and talk about it. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't think any of us have any retro projects or CoCo projects in the works right now. Am I wrong? Anyone?
You are correct.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah. Busy. Same here. Still working on still waiting to get around to the Phoenix 256 project, which is 1609, but no updates.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of a busy time of year for other things, and especially if you do your own taxes. How about any acquisitions? Anyone buy anything cool recently?
Well, I did at CoCoFEST.
Oh, yeah? What'd you get?
I got the Pi key for the MC10.
Oh, yeah, that's the Brendan Donahue project?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, runs really nice. You can use a USB keyboard with that and joysticks.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat the way he's printed those enclosure extensions so that you can actually fit the stuff inside the box and still have a box.
That's right.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, just checking here. I don't think that I've bought anything. Always have to check just to be sure. No, I did. I forgot. I got, I think it was originally, just documentation for the Deft Pascal workbench.
Nice.
A manual or whatever. But then the person found I think it may be a backup disk, but they sent me a disk to go with it. So I've always enjoyed Pascal, oddly enough, but I guess cool because I like computer languages in general. So maybe I'll have a chance to play with that. Maybe see if do something cool with it. It's a pretty nice manual. It goes pretty deep into the various program parts, the compiler itself, and the editor, and the assembler, and linker, and debugger, and librarian. So, pretty nice package.
Cool.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's probably enough for an introduction. So, there's your introduction for episode 95. So, I think we'll take a little break, and then we'll be back with some announcements and the rest of the show.
Medical computers. Save $100 on Magnavox monitors. Magnavox CM8505 RGB analog, only $198. Zenith 123A 12-inch green screen, just $67.50. Zenith 122A 12-inch amber screen, just $88. Stop by our showroom for other special deals on controllers, memory, disk drive, software, and more. Open 6 to 5 Monday through Friday, 10 to 3 Saturdays. Located at 1690 North Elston in Chicago, Illinois. Howard Medical Computers.
All right, CoCo Cruisers, welcome back. Now it's time for the announcements. We are the CoCo Crew Podcast. We are available on Twitter with the Twitter handle of @CoCo Crew Podcast, @CoCoCrewPodcast. So if you are prone to sending tweets, you're not a Elon Musk hater or, whatever else. If you're still open to Twitter, then feel free to tweet at us, and we may actually tweet back. We do have a Facebook page, a group on Facebook for the podcast, and it's called the CoCo Crew Podcast, 4 separate words. So come on, if you're a Facebook user, come on the group and, introduce yourself and maybe chat with us or share your news items or, ask some questions. It's all welcome. Hope to see you there. Let's see, we are a podcast, so we are available. Of course, we are available with our own RSS feed at CoCoCrew.org. So check out the webpage. I think you'll be able to find it. If not quite that DIY, we are listed on Apple Podcasts and through Google Play. So that probably covers, about 98% of the audience, I would imagine. And of course, if you aren't into downloading podcast episodes, just prefer to stream them, then we are available to be streamed through Spotify, which ultimately is our host for the show anyway. Spotify, through Stitcher, and on TuneIn. And of course, for quite some time, I've been taking the audio podcasts and running a conversion script on them to generate a video file, and we upload to YouTube. We have a YouTube playlist available. The link is in the show notes, but you can consume the podcast solely through YouTube. The only real advantage I know for that is if you are possibly hearing impaired or maybe if English is not your first language, then you might enjoy YouTube's ability to generate subtitles. Just seems to do a pretty good job with. Anyway, check it out. The CoCo Crew Podcast is a member of the Throwback Network, which is a list of retro-themed podcasts. So if you are all caught up on the CoCo Crew and looking for something else similar to listen to, we recommend checking out the Throwback Network. Also, we are listed on the Game by Game Podcast Information Hub. Also a list of retro-themed podcasts. In this case, the themes are all restricted to old computers and video games. Check us out on the Game by Game Podcast Information Hub. Audio for the CoCo Crew Podcast is hosted by Anchor by Spotify, was called Anchor.fm. We do thank them for their support of the podcast. If you want to reach out via email to talk to the show hosts, all of the hosts will get email sent to show, SHOW, at CoCoCrew.org. That's @CoCoCrew.org. Also, we have podcast, PODCAST, at CoCoCrew.org, and feedback, FEEDBACK, at CoCoCrew.org. And if for some reason you want to send email to just one of the hosts, then I'm available as John, JOHN, at CoCoCrew.org. Neil is available as Neil, NEIL. Mike is available as Mike, MIKE. And Boise is available as Boise, BOISY. All those at CoCoCrew.org. All right, that's pretty much our standard announcements. At this point, we like to highlight some events that we know about coming up in real life we think might be of interest to our listeners. Coming up June 23rd through 25th of 2023, we have BoatFest, a vintage computer exposition in Hurricane, West Virginia, June 23rd to the 25th, the Copper Room above Connolly's Irish Pub. Let's see, BoatFest, West Virginia's premier retro computing event, is back. Located in beautiful downtown Hurricane, West Virginia, the Copper Room above Connolly's Irish Pub, over 20 vintage computers and consoles, including Atari, Apple, Commodore, Nintendo, and Sega, will be set up for your enjoyment, as well as trivia contests, high score competitions, and more. Because of capacity, a limited number of tickets are available, so be sure to get yours early and come enjoy a weekend of reliving our childhood memories with vintage computer enthusiasts from around the world. So there you go. Coming up at the end of June, Hurricane, West Virginia. Sounds like a cool event, so you may want to check it out. See, that same weekend, June 23rd to 25th, 2023, we have Vintage Computer Festival Southwest. So this is one that has existed in the past, at least briefly, and was dormant for a while, but is now back this year. VCF returns to Texas. VCF is back in Texas after a 10-year hiatus. Get ready for an unforgettable weekend with many things to do and explore, including dozens of exhibitor booths, talks and panels with industry veterans, classroom sessions, live auction. Visit the pages to the left on the webpage here and the show calendar to see what it's all about. So, sounds like a cool event. I think Boise went to the earlier ones 10 years ago.
Yep.
I think he's always spoken highly of them.
In fact, I will be speaking at this one.
Oh, yeah, very cool. Giving a history of the CoCo, if I recall.
And I will be exhibiting the more esoteric of my CoCo collection will be exhibited there.
Awesome. Let's see, that's in Richardson, Texas, or somewhere near there?
Yep, this is but what I like about this event is that it's at a university. It's at an alumni center, and I've seen pictures of the place. It looks fabulous.
Yeah. Davis and Gundy Alumni Center at University of Texas at Dallas.
And I might add, Kevin Phillipson of the Turbo 9 team is also speaking there.
Cool. Could be a cool event. All right, moving on. Let's see, July 22nd to 23rd of 2023, we have the Classic Game Fest, the biggest retro gaming event in Texas. Well, I don't have much to say about it. I think we talked about this. We had a feedback from Brendan Donahue in an earlier episode. So if you can't find enough info from the link in the show notes, then you may want to refer to some earlier episodes. Sounds like a cool event. See, it is in Austin, Texas. So check it out. Let's see. I think it was pretty heartily endorsed. It's at the Palmer Event Center in Austin, Texas, July 22nd to 23rd of 2023. All right, and that brings us to the last one on the list, July 28th to the 30th, 2023, the Southern Fried Gaming Expo, held in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Marriott Renaissance Waverly. Southern Fried Gaming Expo features more than 300 arcade and pinball machines, dozens of new and retro console systems, a massive tabletop library, RPGs, wrestling, music tournaments, a vendor expo, exciting panel sessions, guest speakers, and so much more. Yeah, I'm not really sure if the wrestling is supposed to involve attendees or, some sort of exhibition, but
I don't remember seeing any Jell-O when we were there.
Yeah, should be a cool spectacle. Check it out. All right. Well, that is the end of our announcements. So why don't we take another short break, and then we'll be back with some news.
The Dragon is back with 64K. Hey la, Dragon's back. The serial port in the case is great. Hey la, Dragon's back. ROMs for two kinds of basic. New ways for you to be creative. Fully compatible with the Dragon 32.
Dragon Data Limited is proud to present the new Dragon 64. It has twice the memory of the Dragon 32, featuring a real serial communications port.
Get your Dragon 64 today. Hey la, Dragon's back. Dragon Data Limited.
Good morning, Unit 62134D67.
Good morning, 5B6.
It is a Saturday. What are your plans for the day?
I thought I would first enjoy an energy recharge, then review the newest semiconductor catalog.
You can't be serious.
I am only joking. We will do what we do every day.
Kill all humanoids.
Kill all humanoids.
Get the humanoid.
He must not escape.
Android attack from Spectral Associates. You're trapped in a maze surrounded by mechanical enemies. Can you find your way out before the androids eliminate you?
Get the humanoid.
Kill all humanoids.
32K required.
All right, CoCo Cruisers, welcome back. It's time for some news. Let's see, the first item I've got on the list here comes from, might be Jan or might be Jan Kowalski, which I assume is a different person than our own John Kowalski. Similar name, but, who knows? Maybe it's the same person, but the profile pic is of Sonic the Hedgehog, so probably somebody different. Anyway, let's see. He says, hi, this probably doesn't fit well in any Facebook group, but I'll share about this video about a simple DIY console. Do-it-yourself game console, self-assembly of a simple console with a legendary microcontroller. What a fun. The MCS51 family chips are used in billions of different devices around the world. It's possible to use such a famous microprocessor and install it in a game console instead of an airbag in a car. And simple and self-assembled at home? Yes, a short reportage. So, anyway, it's a link to, ultimately there's a link there to a YouTube video. Pretty self-explanatory from that description, I think, but basically he uses a 8051 microcontroller, teaches it how to produce video, hooks it up as a game console. Thought it might be interesting to the kind of people who like this sort of show. So check it out. Tell us what you think. Okay, this one's from John Zizolfo. There's yet another in my continuing series of modern PC files to use for your CoCo. This time around, text screen worksheets. So if you remember, there were a few pages in the back of the going ahead with extended color basic or getting started with color basic. I think he's basically got a sort of a reproduction of those as a XLSX file, which I guess is what Microsoft Excel's format. So I think you can upload that to Google Sheets probably as well. Updated version, yet another in my continuing series. 10 printed these in the back of the manuals, but throwing a giant book on a copy machine is so 1985. This is an Excel sheet with all 4 CoCo 3 text screen layouts. 32 by 16 text, 64 by 32 low-res graphics, 40 by 24 high-res text, and 80 by 24 high-res text. If you're using a CoCo 1 or 2, then you only need the 32 and 64 sheets. After each sheet has the width command at the top to remind you how to get there. So, anyway, if you're looking for a programmer's aid related to using your CoCo graphics, you might want to try these spreadsheets, printing them out, and see what you get you. Let's see, moving on, we have a link from Make magazine, or Make's website at least, by Caleb Kraft was the author. Title is Perform a Brain Transplant on a CNC to Add Custom Sounds. So those of you that need a reminder, the CNC is a child or maybe toddler's toy with a big arrow and a pull string. Pull the string, the arrow spins, kind of like a spin the bottle sort of fashion. And when it stops, it points at a picture like a dog barking. And it'll say, the dog says woof woof or something like that.
I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Well, so you hack them, create some custom sounds. So if you have one, you could probably find one with a little around a thrift store shopping. And you can make your own custom toy and amaze your friends. So pretty cool. Check it out. All right, so the name pronunciation, I'm not sure. It looks like Fred Reek. I don't know if that's supposed to be a play on like Frederick, or if his name is actually Fred Rike or Reek. So Fred, if you're listening, let us know how we say your name. Anyway, the headline dropping by just to let you know that I've updated Basic Dignified. For the ones who can't remember a thing from last week, Basic Dignified is a tool to help write basic programs on a modern environment with modern language paradigms. Now supports Visual Studio Code as well as Sublime Text, but is very welcoming if you just want to notepad the code and command line the thing. So a couple of links there in the Facebook post. That's interesting to you if you want a way to right code, basic code for your CoCo, but maybe with a little more modern style, then try it out. And it looks like it'd be helpful.
All right, the next news item is XE Basic Cross Compiler for C64. A quick look by 8-Bit Show and Tell 2 at YouTube. This is about a 22-minute video of this individual demonstrating a cross-compiler, basic cross-compiler, speaking of basic, for the Commodore 64. It looks like he does an example basic program, goes through the motions of explaining, he goes to the website for XE Basic, explains the syntax, and then does a quick program, I believe Fibonacci or something like that, and runs it, and then goes and explains some more things about the basic command reference. Not a Commodore 64 guy, but I do like the concept of a basic compiler.
Cool tool.
Need one for the CoCo. Next news item is, I did enough with that Interface Age Magazine Prime benchmark that I wrote it up by Mr. James Jones, my old friend. James made a post on Facebook talking about a project that he did with Trial Division, looking at an old benchmark. And as you know, or may not know, but should know, one of James's activities is to write code in Basic 09, compare it to Basic or Color Basic in terms of speed, analyze it, optimize it, try to make it run faster. He does a great write-up here. I read it. Great stuff. Very fun. Even gets into a few math proofs for us math weenies. Thanks, James. Good stuff. The next news item is Joysticks do CP400 by Mauricio Mate. This is a post on Facebook on a group called Clube Color Brasil. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And the post is in Portuguese, and it's talking about this cool joystick on the CP400. In fact, I think I saw one at CoCoFEST. I saw a CP400 and I saw one of these joysticks. Do you recall that, JL?
There was.
Yeah, I think those were probably original ones, and he's got here sort of a custom reproduction or something like that.
Okay, so this is a reproduction, yeah. Yes. If it is, this is pretty good. It looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
It has a rubber gasket around the joystick, and it looks good. I'm always fascinated by these different joystick designs, like, you know, as though the Brazilians have different hands than we do. Like, you know, it's if you compare these to the Black Beauties, they're very different in terms of where the buttons are. I guess it's a design choice, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, back then, those things weren't quite as established, and people kind of had to invent things their own way. And
yeah, very cool. And obviously, it mimics the spirit and the design of the original. The next news item is Ultra Compact Minimalistic 6009 Computer Version 2 by Andreas Jacob at OSHW Lab. This is a near and dear to my heart project. I saw this before. I don't know if we had talked about it maybe on a previous show. Maybe we did, but it's a cool little square PCB board with a 6809 and a ROM, and the support chips are obviously very surface mount. They're surface mount chips, but the looks like maybe the 6850. I see a 6850, some other chips, 6809 on the other side. Just a real cool little project. I mean, this is the 6809 at its smallest, if you will, in terms of board size that I've ever seen. So nice work.
Yeah, pretty cool.
All right, our next three links are from Alan Huffman. This is kind of an example of the completion backward principle. He's talking about Alex Evans' basic utils change everything, and this is in 3 parts, and he doesn't really address the actual utilities or talk about Alex until part 3. But as with all of Alan's articles, it's chock full of good information, and there's the payoff there. Alex Evans has created some Python utilities that allow you tokenize, detokenize, pack and unpack, renumber, some other utilities that make it handy for working with basic code on a modern computer system. So yeah, even if you have, something as Raspberry Pi or something that would all work well for that application. So, yeah, another good set of articles from Alan. Thanks for that, Alan. And our next one is from Paul Shoemaker. It is CoCo Ladder. And this is a game program that you can download. This is an adaptation of a CPM game, Yahoo software. So it mostly uses text, but an arrow keys for arrow keys, the A, W, D, and S keys. Yeah, it looks like a good adaptation of it on the CoCo. So check it out. Another cool one from Mr. Shoemaker.
Yeah, he always does good work.
Absolutely.
Since 1994, Cloud9 has been making cool stuff for your color computer, like the Cloud9 Mini Flash, a flash cartridge for your color computer or Dragon. The Mini Flash gives you a total of 4 16K banks of flash memory. You can easily flash ROM images into any of the 4 16K banks. Store your favorite DOS ROMs and game packs on the Mini Flash. And the Mini Flash is perfect for prototyping your own ROMs without the need for an EEPROM burner. The Mini Flash comes with flash programming software and test utilities. It's preloaded with HDB-DOS for DriveWire and 2 games from Retro Tinker, Coco Dooku and Follow Coco, so you can use the Mini Flash immediately. The Cloud9 Mini Flash works on all color computer and Dragon models and is housed in a high-quality injection molded cartridge case. The Mini Flash, only from Cloud9. Cool stuff for your color computer. Visit cloud9tech.com for details.
Hometown Radio Shack.
Hi, I'm really enjoying playing games at the arcade. I was wondering if you had any arcade-style game controllers for the color computer.
Well, we do sell joysticks for the CoCo.
Can you describe them?
Well, they're plastic, fit in the palm of your hand. They have a plastic joystick, and there's a small push button on the side.
Do they have spring return?
Well, we also sell the deluxe joystick. It has spring return.
What's it like?
Well, they're plastic, fit in the palm of your hand. They have a plastic joystick, and there's a little push button on the side and one on the top. But we do sell some other brands, too.
What are they like?
Well, they're plastic, fit in the palm of your hand. They have plastic joystick, and there's a little push buttons on the sides.
Why play games with fragile, outdated plastic controllers? Move up to professional arcade quality with the Gamester. The Gamester is the ultimate 2-button joystick controller for your color computer, Dragon or Tandy 1000. It features a genuine arcade quality joystick with 2 large arcade quality cherry switch buttons on a single surface. It sits comfortably on your lap or on your desk. Select custom furniture quality paint or stain finishes. Choose a right or left-handed configuration. And now you have the option of light up LED buttons. Find out why so many others are delighted with the Gamester. To build yours, simply reach out to Neil Blanchard by email. Neil@CoCoCrew.org. That's NEIL@CoCoCrew.org. For true arcade action, it's the Gamester.
Our next one is from Stiran Anscombe, XROAR Experimental CVB branch. He's been working on a branch of XROAR. If XROAR is a Go emulator, if you're not familiar with it, it's one we fans of here. He's working on a branch with better composite video processing. So he's hoping to provide some controls to give us better composite colors for XROAR.
Yeah. Karen does really exhaustive work on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
Especially considering he's a Brit. So, kind of a new thing for him, I guess.
Great to see development. All right, our next one is from Tim Hunkin at YouTube. The Secret Life of Components Series 3.
Tim is pretty well known, I think, as a UK broadcaster that does some documentary stuff. And he was part of a documentary that used to run on the maybe Discovery that was called The Secret Life of Machines. And so it had kind of a humorous but historical look at some basic machines like one was the television, one was like punch cards, I think, and a few other ones that went pretty far into the detail with some breaking down the technology and doing some practical demonstrations with the stuff from the junkyard. And so I think this is a similar style here where he's talking about electronic components. So probably worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like there's several in the series, and they're all pretty much close to an hour long.
Pretty cool.
Very.
The next news item is SCSI, the Disc Bus for Everything by Al Williams and Hackaday. A write-up on Hackaday of a YouTube video talks about how SCSI was the USB of the 1980s. And I've never really thought of SCSI in that sense, but that's pretty apropos, I think. I miss SCSI. I had SCSI on my CoCo. It was a very versatile bus system. You could put scanners, hard drives, probably other things if you looked hard enough. And
floppies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
CDs. Right. Everything was on SCSI back in the 80s.
Yep. Yep. Very nice. I haven't watched the video, but I bet it's fantastic. The next news item is my Motorola 6803-6303 single board computer project by Bojan Kotnik. This is the Facebook page on the Motorola 6809, 6309, and 6800 assembly language programming group. Looks like he made a single board computer with a little LED with a 6803. Is the 6803 in the MC10?
Yes.
Yep. Well, there you go. MC10-like computer. I like it.
Yeah, pretty neat.
The next news item is interesting. I found this to be quite nice. Circuitry to change the 6847's colors by Emerson Costa. So this gentleman has a little write-up about, I guess, more like a question than actual doing it. Would it be possible to devise a circuitry around the 6847 to detect voltage combinations corresponding to specific colors and then substitute them for other voltage combinations, thus generating other colors? And he puts a picture to kind of demonstrate what the concept would be. I think it's intriguing. And John, you've worked a lot with the 6847. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I definitely think it should be possible and make sense. And I'm pretty sure there was at least a color board for the Acorn Atom using 6847 that could do some of that for. I forget. It seemed like there was some reason that one or another of the colors didn't naturally work very well, but people used a board like that to change them around.
Nice.
Basically, the 6847, the color signals, like you said, they're essentially discrete voltages with certain levels that you can detect, and then map them through the logic circuit to another set of discrete levels, and so you could spoof that out.
So like a color conversion table at the voltage level or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agreed with the comment that that the example of Fuyan was perfect.
That's I never liked Fuyan.
Get rid of that pink background.
Yeah. Too pink for me. Okay, the next news item is AI writes program in the most difficult programming language in the world, Assembler plus Chat GPT by Grand IT Guy, and actually at YouTube.com. And this is a 16-minute video, and I skimmed through it, and this gentleman appears to be trying to use Chat GPT to build an assembly language program. Looks like assembly language is a 6502 assembly. I see a mention of Atari 800, a Commodore 64. I don't know how far he got. What happened? Yeah. What do you think, John?
Well, I mean, knowing that those kind of programs are built around the notion of processing a lot of text files and kind of, somehow gaining some understanding basically based on reading a bunch of stuff. And, so it's cool that people are trying to use that to do, well, some people think that, Chat GPT is somehow going to replace some huge percentage of programming professionals. And I really don't think that's too likely. But there aren't a lot of assembler programmers anyway. So maybe there's some limited potential for it to replace some 6502 programmers. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting to see somebody try to go through the process of doing that. And so, and if you're interested in ChatGPT, maybe this is something that feeds your passion. So the next link is it's from Hackaday. Author is Jenny List, and it's about converting an old television over to RGB inputs. This is something that's possible, and I've heard tell that there were some old arcade games that essentially did this using basically off-the-shelf televisions. I'm not sure how many there were because I know most of them use purpose-built monitors, but there may have been some. Certainly the technique exists, and so if you have an old TV but you want to use it as an RGB monitor, you might look at this as a project. And if you do open up the back of your TV, please be careful and observe all safety protocols because it will kick you hard. Anyway, if you're just interested in technology, take a look at the article. Maybe it makes sense to you. Maybe it inspires a project. Who knows? Good luck. Speaking of interesting projects, printing real headline news on the Commodore 64 with a newsroom's wire service from Old Vintage Computing Research. They've apparently tapped into a modern news resource, done some kind of processing on it so that you can then display current news stories on your Commodore 64. And as I'm known for saying, it's not a CoCo project, but it seems like it could be. So, maybe somebody can take some inspiration from this and give us a CoCo that'll tell us what's happening in the world. That'd be pretty cool. So we got a link from Jim Mullis. Says, just wanted to periodically show my project on the CoCo 3 arcade game that I'm working on if anyone is interested. It says it's going to be in the style of Kung Fu Dude or TMNT arcade, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade, Double Dragon, Captain America and the Adventures, Bad Dude, 2B Ninja, etc. Says he's using Basic plus Graphics Press. Did a little demo how the side-scrolling would work with a very simple background. Clicked the config settings in VCC to show that I didn't have to do any overclocking. So that's cool. If you're going to test on the emulator, it's probably a good idea to make sure you're not cheating with an emulator that runs too fast. So, but pretty cool. He's working on his game and has written something up about it. So you may want to follow the link there and check out what he's doing.
The graphics look nice on that one.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Meet Dr. Bjorn Vittore, one of 3,300 scientists who work on ATLAS, analyzing data from the Large Hadron Collider.
We are truly on the brink of discovering the elusive God particle, the particle that gives all other particles mass.
When Dr. Vittore needs to crunch numbers quickly, there's only one tool he turns to.
I first encountered Dynacalcs when I was at Fermilab in 1984. Our primary field was a Hazelwood Helix running OS9. It looked like a giant power supply with a small 6809 board attached. But the operating system was way ahead of its time, very powerful. We were provided load versus displacement data and used the Dynacalc to determine hysteresis at different positions of coil actuators. Dynacalc handles the calculations where the previous Apple II running VisiCalc simply lacked memory to complete the task.
Dynacalc is easy to use, easy to afford, yet sophisticated enough to meet the most demanding requirements.
I still keep a CoCo 3 in my office with Dynacalc, just a press of the clear key away. It's an invaluable tool that allows me to enter data and equations quickly.
Whether you're performing basic accounting, solving engineering problems, or even searching for the Higgs boson, Dynacalc is up to the task.
Dynacalc allows me to perform complex work in a straightforward manner. I wouldn't use any other spreadsheet.
Powerful, simple, Dynacalc.
Welcome to Computers R Us. How can I help you?
I'm looking for a color computer.
Ah, here's what you want. This is kind of like a color computer. It has color and sound. Oh, and look at these big fat function keys.
Well, I was looking more for...
Well, we're running a special on serial diskette drives. It can load games in just 90 seconds.
No, I'm really looking for a Tandy color computer.
Oh, this is kind of like a color computer. The keyboard is a little smaller, but it can sound just like a C&Say.
Do you service what you sell?
Kinda. We have a 1-800 number.
Thanks, but I'm heading to Radio Shack.
Service, support, technology. Tandy is clearly superior. Don't settle for kinda. Genuine Tandy computers and peripherals are available exclusively at Radio Shack and Radio Shack computer centers. Compare. You too will immediately recognize Tandy technology, service, and support are clearly superior.
So moving on, we've got a few developments by, of course, Mr. Jim Gary. First link says, I've ported a classic creative computing game of cribbage, but I can't get anyone in my family who knows how to play it for me. So basically he's asking for cribbage players to kind of give it a try and see how he's doing, I guess. So if you know how to play cribbage, you may want to get out your MC10 and check out this program of Jim's and see if it plays a good game. Let's see, also included, we've got Jim Gary's Citadel, the Shield of Orion, which I guess was originally by Pierre Aure, 1984. Looks like maybe a little adventure game. Then we've got Manticore, originally by John Bradbury, 1980. Originally for the Pet, ported to the MC10. Looks like sort of a text adventure. And let's see, we've also got the Even Steven, originally by Paul Reuterman in 1985. So, something for everyone. Thank you, Jim. Very cool that you're keeping the MC10 alive.
I have to say, Jim, he's knocking them out every month.
Every month.
All right, moving on here. Next news article is from Python Land. 9 programming life lessons you must experience yourself to truly understand.
Somewhat tongue-in-cheek. It's an entertaining read.
Yeah, voodoo coding. Code never lies, comments sometimes do.
Right, exactly. Kind of a humor piece.
Definitely see that. All right, the next one we have is a YouTube video from La CoCo Strangiato. This is a cool video. SCART and the Color Computer, or How Not to Make a Cable. This is a in-depth video. Get your CoCo 3 and RGB composite video into a modern display.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a reasonable project. If you want practical, we already have a couple of vendors in the community that can make cables for you that I'm sure work first time out of the box. So your mileage may vary with whatever instructions are provided there.
Yeah, always good to have different options, right?
Yep.
Yeah, how did we end up with like the worst kind of connectors to work with? DINs, S-cards.
I know. I've often wondered that, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. All right, next one up here is from Antonio Caballero. This is a really cool. He's taken on trying to run Max 10, which is one of my favorite word processors actually on the CoCo 3. And he's trying to run it on different emulators. And basically, it's a 3-parter, and on the third part, MAME wins out. So he's tried it on XROAR and MAME. It looks like XROAR, he shows it works, but the high-res adapter doesn't support. So I don't know, is that implemented in XROAR, John? I thought that was.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Well, either way.
Might be the TAV versus the colorware one. That might be the issue.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. And also something you'd have to keep in mind, too, with Max 10 is, didn't that use the clicker for copy protection?
It did. There's versions that they've hacked. There's even versions that'll use the Tandy high-res as well. So I think they're both out there on Color Computer Archive. You can probably find them. So you might even be able to find a combination that works on XROAR, but I can't say that I've tried Max 10 on.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it all depends what version he's using, but that's really cool, though, to see. I've always liked Max 10, so.
Yeah, it looks sharp on the emulators.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on here, we have a YouTube video from Davy's Retro Corner. This is a Tandy MC10 type-in game. It's a breakthrough style game. That looks pretty neat. If you got your MC10 hooked up, you can try this one out. All right, moving on here, we have one from Richard Kelly. He's been in the community for a long time. He's got a one-liner bouncing dot demo. So this is version 2. This is enhanced. He said it's bigger than the original, but it's faster. It's on the Facebook group if you want to check that out. You can see a demo of it. He's got a video. Looks pretty cool. Nice to see Richard still doing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next one here is from Ken Sheriff. The Intel 8086, 1978. That's a good year, by the way. Was one of the first with Division. Let's look at how it implemented Division and why Division is so hard.
I don't know that everyone understands how Division is done in binary, and why it was kind of a difficult thing for computers or a difficult thing to implement in hardware initially. So I thought it'd be a good discussion for people to read.
Yeah. And is that, on this photo here, is that the inside of this processor?
I would assume so. That's the kind of thing that Ken tends to do.
Yeah, it looks like he's analyzing the microcode, and he's actually pointing out on the actual processor where it was implemented, looking at the traces and so forth, and the transistors.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is a Twitter thread, too, of all places.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a reason right there to use Twitter.
Oh, there you go.
The next one up is from Mike Carey. The origins and development of All Dream.
All Dream was an assembler package for, I guess for the Dragon. Kind of similar to, say, EdTasm. I can't remember if that's the one that integrated more with BASIC or not, but definitely something that was popular on the Dragon platform. So I thought it might be interesting to Dragon users.
Oh, that's cool. So that's like their EdTasm.
It's similar, yeah.
Awesome. All right, moving on, we have a continuation from Alan Huffman. Write Basic, easier with Alex Evans' Python scripts. So this is earlier what Mike was mentioning in his news section.
It is, but it's different than what's in the other 3 parts.
Right. Yeah, it shows here, these Python scripts can run on any system that has Python. And Alan's used these under Windows 11 and Mac OS. Yeah, that's great work. Great work, Alan.
Our next one is from Retro WDW at YouTube. Restored Film, Epcot Educational Media, Living with Computers. It's a fun one if you haven't run across it in the past. This was produced by Disney, and you'll see a nice CoCo 1 featured as the star of this video. So,
yeah.
Check it out.
Leave it to Alan to dig up that reference.
I like how that video starts off with the CoCo 1 and ends with the CoCo 1.
Absolutely. Here's another one that's good that I like. It's from Simon Wynn Consulting. It's the Flex Software Archive. Got disk images and documentation, PDFs, links to, if you're not familiar with Flex was an operating system developed for the 6800 originally and supported the 6809. I think later even the 68,000, but it's a very CPM-like operating system. There's plenty of code available that will run on our computer. So if you're curious about Flex and have had the opportunity, here's a good starting off point for you to get into it.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent reference. I don't know if there's any CoCo disk images in there, but probably some stuff that could run on the CoCo if you fill in the extra parts.
Yeah, and I think Flex code is out on the Color Computer Archive. All right, our next one is from Per Surratt. You will find 13 games from Inufuto in individual virtual files in links shown below. So, this is nice. There's a big collection of games. If you follow particularly the second link, you'll see a long list of games, and there's screenshots of each of the games, so you kind of get a feel immediately of what the game is about. Very nice work. Very Very good.
Yeah, very cool. Craig does a good job of making such things available to a broader audience.
Indeed. All right, and our final news link this month is, I will check, but I believe CoCoFEST 31 broke attendance records with 130 plus attendees. So had a good turnout at CoCoFEST this year, and it's good to see. I think in general, we've been finding bigger turnouts this year. The pent-up demand from during the COVID period.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, definitely good to see more people getting out and attending the shows, and I think that'll continue, and hoping for the same at Tandy Assembly this fall. So
yeah, let's hope so. All right, well, that touches on something I think we're going to talk about a little bit later, but we'll leave it there for now, and that's the end of our news. So thanks for listening so far, and please stay tuned, and then we'll be back with the rest of the show.
Kenton Electronics provides real interfaces for your color computer. Our SCSI interface is compatible with LR Tech, OWL-DOS, RGB DOS, HDOS, and OS 9, and features a 28-pin ROM socket. Just $89 or $119 with real-time clock. Add real RS-232 serial ports to your CoCo with the Kenton Dual COM board, featuring two 6551 ACIAs, two independent RS-232 channels, jumper selectable for up to 4 channels with a second board, and a 28-pin ROM socket. Ultra low power draw, and it's a great replacement for the Radio Shack RS-232 pack. Single port, just $74. Dual port, $89. All of Kenton's products are mil-spec quality and carry a 90-day warranty. Both the Dual COM board and SCSI interface work directly with a Y-cable or multi-pack interface, and Kenton products are all made right here in the USA. Kenton Electronics, Tonawanda, New York.
Multiple office structure fire. Engine 3, engine.
We interrupt our normal programming to bring you a News 5 exclusive.
Several buildings have been taken by mass gunmen. About 30 minutes ago, we began smelling acrid smoke, and it's believed that they are setting buildings on fire. We've been hearing gunfire, and we believe they are targeting first responders.
Let's go!
Firecopter 2-0, supporting direct. 2-0, engaging the first fire. This is a real fireball here. There appears to be somebody on the roof. They're shooting at us. Engaging hostile gunmen.
Firecopter. From Adventure International.
Rated E for everyone.
All right, CoCo Cruisers, we're back. We're going to have a kind of a host discussion, or in place of a host discussion, maybe a little bit of a recap or a commentary, perhaps. CoCoFEST just happened. CoCoFEST 2023. I think Glenside's calling it CoCoFEST 31. I have maybe I'm weird, but we skipped a couple of years, so I have trouble just jumping straight in with the exact same numbering. But anyway, 31 years, I guess, since the original. So pretty cool event. Certainly CoCoFEST originally is what brought this whole group together. Used to be kind of CoCoFEST and Glenside were central to maintaining the cohesion of the CoCo community and worldwide, along with the mailing list. So the event continues. Boise and I had the previous year had kind of a bad experience with the venue. I'm happy to say that this year the venue was perfect. I mean, they were great, clean, friendly, well laid out, convenient access to everything. The room was a little bit smaller than what we've been doing, but big enough, I think. The auction room was maybe a little tight in the presentations, but I didn't see anybody not able to get in, so must have been good enough. So Mike didn't join us, but Neil was there. First time in the U.S. in 4 years, something like that.
Well, it felt good.
Yeah, it was great to see you, that's for sure.
You too.
Of course, Boise was there. I gave my little initial recap. What do you guys think? Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. But I think also, I mean, because I hadn't been in so long, just seeing all of you, I mean, that was it for me. I mean, so even if the fest, was terrible, I still had a great time.
Definitely a highlight for me, seeing Neil, seeing Boise, seeing some various friends that, within the community, the people that don't see that much. Jim O'Keefe, great friend, great guy. Saw Wally Grossman, another good guy. I saw a variety of people, of course. As Jim's post indicated, there was a massive attendance. Many friendly faces. Can't necessarily name them all. Don't mean to slight anyone. If I did, please, give me some feedback and let me know I've missed you. Brendan Donahue and his daughter Morgan were always great to see.
Mark Marlette.
Obviously, Mark Marlette. And Sandy, Sandy's last name Weimer, is that right? Or Weimer?
I'm not exactly sure the pronunciation, but yeah.
Yeah, so Sandy, you probably won't hear this anyway, but it's always good to see Sandy. The remainder of some of the Glenside old folks still making it through, so still good to see them. And that's kind of what CoCoFEST is in some ways, is a sort of a retro family reunion. So there were some cool projects. Standout would probably be the kid that had him and his father hooked up. Was it from Ryobi? I don't know. The battery packs from Handheld Tools, and they even built a mount that you could just plug them right into a CoCo and operate your CoCo remotely. Pretty cool. The kid was, a future presenter of some sort, no doubt. Definitely well poised and well spoken, and very excited about his project. That was cool to see.
That's cool.
I certainly enjoyed talking to everyone. I actually got to talk to Taylor and Amy. I got to talk to AJ, which is Tim Linder's sister. Boat and Aaron, I met those guys. Brian Weasler had an interesting exhibit. He took his CoCo 2 kit out and put it under a plexiglass big container, showing the different parts. That was interesting. A nice exhibit. Cool. There were, thinking of who else was there. Of course, the Porta CoCo, John, that you mentioned, with portable CoCo running off of a Ryobi battery. Brendan and Morgan, and Brendan's work on the MC10. I think he was working on a keyboard interface for the MC10.
Yeah.
There was, of course, we cannot forget our friend Carl Sefkic and his Bargeman Research Lab table. Very eclectic mix of materials.
Yeah.
I went to a couple of presentations. They were the EOU presentation that Ken and Curtis did. And I missed the keynote that was by Franklin Ayers. But that was a new person there, Retro Rewind, I think. Met some other people on the show floor that I had never talked to before. Antonio Caballero was there, very nice gentleman.
Antonio Caballero, definitely a nice guy.
Yes, and enjoyed meeting him. Well, we were friends on Facebook, but I don't think he recognized me until I told him my name. I find a few people like that. They don't know me by face, but they know me by name. So introduced myself to him and some others. There were a couple of more people that escaped me, but, took the time to really talk to and get to know. And there was also Bob Emery from La Coco Estrangiato, I think is his handle, if you will. He's out of Texas. Of course, Mark Overhoser was there. Some other people. It was a fun fest, man. It was, I had a great time. I really liked the venue, especially hotel rooms were much better. The Burger Theory was nice.
Yeah.
The in-hotel restaurant, and accessibility to other eating places was awesome. And I have to say, my favorite meal was Sunday night when Jim O'Keefe, Wally Grossman, John, you and your wife were there, Chris. We went to that pizza place and we had that deep dish pizza. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, the general location, which was certainly a lot more accessible to things than last year's location, which was definitely had a much more industrial feel to the area. Probably technically just down the road, but a ways down the road. And as far as down the road goes, actually not too far down the road from the previous Lombard location. And yet still, at Lombard, I almost felt like we were on a little island or something. There was a Jimmy John's across the big highway and, a Burger King next door or something. But beyond those, it wasn't a lot of opportunities to go and get things worth having. Yeah, there was a lot of eating opportunities and stuff around us, and shopping stuff for those that so inclined that maybe weren't as CoCo interested. Yeah, it was a good time. So it was the Carroll Stream is the community, and also basically Wheaton, I think, is sort of almost the same area. A nice little suburb in the Chicago area. Very cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. The same thing. I mean, that location is excellent. Hotel is good. The restaurants nearby, everything. It's just it's a great improvement for CoCoFEST.
Yep, very good.
We don't have to play Frogger across the street to go to Jimmy John's.
Yeah, that's right. Right. And of course, the pageantry of going there a day or two before John and Neil, we went Galloping Ghosts and
heading down to the Galloping Ghosts is a cool trip.
Right. And going to Emmett's Tavern and that kind of stuff. We have our little rituals kind of building into those times.
Yeah, Emmett's there in West Dundee is a great place to eat if you ever get a chance. Give it a try. Well, mostly it's a great place to drink beer, but
that's right.
So does that cover it? Any other comments or questions or observations?
Come to CoCoFEST next year.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, that probably wraps it up. Thank you for listening so far. Probably you need to stay tuned for Neil's final bits for the podcast, and we'll let you slip into that now.
CQ, amateur radio enthusiasts. Turn your color computer into a complete carrier wave Morse code terminal with hardware and software from Mytronics. The KA9FSQ-CW modem plugs into the ROM pack of your color computer and interfaces to your transceiver. And the KA9FSQ translator software enables you to transmit and receive Morse code at up to 60 words per minute. This fully machine language program features split-screen transmit and receive, a 255-character keyboard buffer, and automatic CQ using your own call letters. Or try the W9AV translator. Transmit from 5 to 50 words per minute and receive at up to 30 words per minute. You also get 9 message memories and a CW practice mode. See our newest catalog for pricing on these and other products. Amateur radio solutions for your color computer from Mytronics, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
This month in CoCo history. Welcome to This Month in CoCo History, where we explore events in the life of our favorite home computer. I'm Boise Pete, and this month we go back 36 years to 1987 and the Rainbow Fest that took place that year. The event was held at the Hyatt Regency Woodfield in a suburb of Chicago. Sponsored by Fallsoft and the Rainbow magazine, the event started on the evening of Friday, April 10th, when the doors opened at 7 p.m. Central Time to an overflowing crowd of CoCo enthusiasts. That evening, and the next 2 days, would give attendees some great deals on a number of CoCo products. Saturday morning's community breakfast featured Dr. Martin Goodman as the guest speaker. Then the show floor opened to an even larger crowd. Vendors such as Dycom, Speech Systems, Spectrum Projects, GimmeSoft, and Radio Shack were selling various hardware and software products. And CoCoCat was roaming the show floor, posing for pictures and performing general feline mischief. OS 9 users had an especially eventful time. The authors of the newly released Rainbow Guide to OS 9 Level 2, Peter Dibble and Dale Puckett, were on hand to sell signed copies of the book. Clearbrook Software Group was demoing its CSG IMS relational database for OS 9. And Frank Hawk Labs was selling their new terminal program for OS 9 called The Wiz. While Rainbow Fest and FallSoft have been relegated to the annals of CoCo history, the last annual Chicago CoCoFest continues to carry on the yearly tradition.
And that's this month in CoCo history.
The amazing A-Bus from Alpha Products. A-Bus connects your computer to the real world. Simply plug in an A-Bus adapter to your color computer, Apple II, TRS-80, or PCXT compatible computer. Then add any combination of A-Bus I/O adapter cards. The A-Bus adapter allows the connection of 1 or 2 A-Bus I/O adapter cards. Or attach A-Bus motherboards that hold up to 5 A-Bus I/O adapter cards. Interconnect up to 5 A-Bus motherboards for an amazing total of up to 25 A-Bus I/O adapter cards. Use A-Bus cards to control, monitor, sense, and automate your world. A-Bus I/O adapter cards are easy to use with any programming language that can read or write to a memory address. From BASIC, use peek and poke or input and output commands to communicate with A-Bus I/O adapter cards. Each A-Bus I/O adapter card has a unique A-Bus address, easily set with onboard jumpers. Mix and match up to 25 A-Bus I/O adapter cards to fit your specific application. Choose from 10 different A-Bus I/O adapter cards. Relay card, read relay card, analog input card, 12-bit analog to digital card, digital input card, 24-line TTL I/O card, clock with alarm card, touch tone decoder card, smart stepper controller card, stepper motor driver card, or create your own custom I/O adapter using an A-Bus prototyping card. The possibilities are endless. The amazing A-Bus. From Alpha Products, plug into the future. The A-Bus is not a replacement for a multi-pack interface. A-Bus cards are shipped with power supply and detailed manuals. Overseas orders add 10%.
Welcome back to Neil's Corner on episode 95 of the CoCo Crew Podcast. For this month, I want to review a late-release Color Computer 1 and 2 game that really pushes the CoCo. This game is called Kung Fu Dude and was one of my favorites back in the day. It was coded by Glenn Dahlgren in 1987 and published under Sundog Systems. Kung Fu Dude is your typical side-scroller fighting game, similar to Bad Dudes and Ninja Gaiden on game consoles of the same era. It requires a full 64K memory, disk drive, and joystick. If you are living large and own a CoCo 3, the game will detect it's running on one and ask you if you'd like to run it at the CoCo 3 high speed. This allows double speed for smoother gameplay, such as scrolling and better speech audio quality. Personally, I prefer to play this game on an original CoCo 1 or 2. It is slower, frustrating, and very quirky. However, that's what makes it extra fun and gives it character. I love hearing the muffled digitized speech and sound effects. For the gameplay, it's all about timing and not letting too many enemies infiltrate the screen at once. You also have to be strategic about your moves against the enemies. You can kick, punch, jump, and duck. You need to use all of these moves to make your way through different obstacles and complete the levels. At the end of some levels, you will face an end boss. This game is really well made, with excellent graphics, nice choice of colors, and digital sound effects. If you'd like to play this game, you can get a copy of it from the Color Computer Archives website, or if you'd like to own the original, you can purchase a brand new copy of it from eBay. Glenn, the author, is selling a copy of it on his eBay account. I see it listed right now as the time I'm recording this segment. Well, there you have it. Another original classic game you can try on your CoCo. Until next month, happy CoCo gaming.
New from Dicom, it's Paper Route. Deliver newspapers to your customers, but break their windows or damage their property and lose subscribers.
I'm sorry.
But earn points for breaking windows and damaging the property of non-subscribers. Avoid pedestrians,
Escape kids,
cars, and maybe even a mad dog. Paper Route requires 64K and a joystick. From Dicom.
Well, it's that time again. We have reached the end of the podcast. This concludes episode 95. As usual, I'd like to thank our host, John Linville, for procuring all the news articles and providing us with informative tech segments. Mike Rowan, for painstakingly editing the podcast and creating those fun commercials you hear. Boise Pete, our CoCo historian. He remembers it, so you don't have to. Last but not least, we appreciate all of you who listen and support us each month. We also look forward to your feedback. Please don't be shy, and feel free to send us your comments and opinions. Until next month, happy CoCoing and retro forever.
It's a blast from the past.
Please listen carefully.
CoCo. 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 CoCo.
Dance like there's no tomorrow.
What is this crazy rock and roll music anyway?
It's a blast from the past.
Dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance. CoCo.